Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, that one we, but back with another episode of one of y'all favorite My Hero Academia what ifs on this channel, and a new what if suggested by the Mark Shinobi, who I carded last time. This is What If Deku Had Juggernaut's Powers, Part 2. Well, first video got a lot of support, a lot of likes, a lot of comments saying you guys loved it. So, thank you for that, and thank him for suggesting it, so otherwise it wouldn't exist here. So, also guys, we're at 199 subscribers at the time that I'm recording this. If we hit 200, then I'll put a poll on this video, by the way. I will open up my Discord server that I've been working on with my colleagues on stuff, and I'll open a Q&A and just chill, like, hour-long live stream on YouTube, where you guys can ask me anything you want, and I'll record and post it live later, like, post it on the channel later, and I'll answer as truthfully as I can, or you guys can suggest what ifs, or just talk to me about your day, or, like, anything. You can either do that, or I can record a 2-hour, 3-hour long video, finishing parts 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, however long, for What If Naruto was a Hyuga, because that series was the start of this channel and everything, and I just want to thank it so much for all of you guys being able to come into my life, and I love all of you. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching these videos, because if you guys are passionate about anime like how I love watching anime, then this is just a really fun way to share our creativity together, and thanks. So yeah, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment, and let's see what other great things we can do in the future. Enough about that sobby stuff now. Let's get right into the video. As Deku takes the hair from All Might's hand, he looks at him and then at the hair and questions it. He asks All Might what is he doing. Then All Might looks towards Deku and says that his strength is almost rivaled to that of One For All, and that even without training, his body's almost definitely ready, just like his was when he first inherited One For All, and that he wants Deku to be the new successor. He can see the light in his eyes, and how his strength he uses to protect people, and how his ego doesn't overtake him, even though he's so strong at a kid his age. All Might finds that this power of Deku's, perhaps connected with One For All, would create the strongest hero of all time. He tells Deku to ingest the hair that he gave him. Deku does as he's told by his favorite idol, and he does so, though it's a little hard and he coughs a little bit after he eats it. He then looks towards All Might and says he did that. All Might then says that tomorrow he wants him to meet him at Dagobah Beach. Deku goes to bed that night, and the next day is Saturday, as he has off school that day. Deku walks towards Dagobah Beach at a pretty slow pace. He doesn't feel any different after ingesting All Might's powers, but then he gets there. All Might sees him and tells him what he wants him to do. He says, "Alright, young Midoriya, I want you to use your power as you normally use it, to try and clear the rubble. Then, after an hour, I'm going to ask you to use your power in conjunction with One For All in order to do it, and see how much faster you can." Deku, confused about what's going on still, says he'll follow All Might's orders and do exactly what he says. He then begins picking up garbage and tossing it with his gigantic strength boost and just throwing it completely far away. And he builds a huge pile on the left side of the beach. He's about, let's say, 60% of the way done with the left side of the beach by the time the hour runs up. Deku is sweating a little bit by this point, as he's been carrying refrigerators and other heavy things consistently for that hour. Then, All Might tells him to turn on One For All. Deku closes his eyes and squeezes his hands. Nothing happens. He then looks to All Might and says, "What do you want me to do?" He tells him to squeeze his buttocks, and then with all of his heart he wants him to think about Smash. And he explains how One For All is an energy that's been a stockpile quirk, and how it flows through you like energy. Deku tries to envision this, but it's kind of hard. He tries it again. He closes his eyes and thinks of a waterfall. A waterfall falling on him and watering down his shoulders like a stream, waving through a forest path. He finally opens his eyes, and electricity shoots out of his right arm. He has all of 100% of One For All concentrated in just that one arm that he was squeezing. All Might sees this and thinks that he's got this, so he tells him to start doing it. All Might starts picking up Deku starts picking up the trash and throwing it away again. This time it's much easier, and his stamina drains less, and his powers are amplified way more. At this point he's using maybe 3% of One For All, as with his stream envisioning of One For All, he's not activating it in anything really except his right hand. but he definitely feels that there's a strain on his body much less than it would have been in the original timeline. He has no drawbacks from using One For All, but as Deku's intelligence is a little bit lower than the original due to his brute strength and his ability, he has to take notes of heroes as that's his passion, but school wasn't really his favorite thing, and he always knew he was going to be a hero anyway, and he loved doing that stuff, and he helped people all the time. So when he tried to put this into practice with intelligence, it really wasn't his thing. He's about as smart as, I'd say, Kaminari from, Electric Dude, Pikachu. Anyway, back to the story. Deku finishes cleaning at the beach in 2 hours. All Might's impressed and tells him that he's doing very well. Then, All Might tells him that he's going to bring him a sparring partner soon. Deku is excited and says that he'll do his best. He then says goodbye to All Might, and All Might drives off in his car. Deku begins to walk home and then thinks about that waterfall that he was envisioning, by the power of One For All that he felt. The energy coursing through him. He looked up and he said this, in 10 months, I'm going to UA. Then the next day, he walked back to the beach and saw All Might and another person standing there. All Might had brought with one of the big three from UA High. He introduces himself and tells him that his name is Mirio Togeda, and that All Might and Night Eye actually started talking again after All Might told Night Eye about Deku's powers and his ability and who he'd pass it on to. Night Eye said that he wanted to inspect it himself and that he sent Mirio to inspect if he was worthy. He didn't tell Mirio this, of course, as Mirio doesn't know much about anything about One For All, and he never did at this point. Then, Mirio and Deku square up. Deku immediately goes into his fighting stance. All Might instructs him to use One For All and try and activate it. Deku, who isn't really good at turning it on at will at this point without taking time to think about it, is immediately then rushed by Mirio. Though Deku has an actual speed advantage over Mirio. Deku uses his normal quirk and he actually boosts around Mirio. Mirio is shocked at how fast and strong this kid is. Anytime he moves, a wake of dust is left in his path. Mirio then shoots out of the ground, and Deku turns around and back slaps Mirio with the back of his hand. Mirio curls up, spit out of his mouth, and then falls into the rubble. He then disappears using his quirk of permeation, and then goes right behind Deku, punching him in the back. Deku falls over, then he stands up again and turns towards Mirio. Mirio's breathing hard at this point, and Deku's breathing a little bit easy. A drop of sweat drops down of Deku's face. Then they begin. Mirio rushes forward, and Deku and Mirio begin having hand-to-hand combat. Every time Deku throws a punch, Mirio permeates through and then punches Deku. Deku's stamina durability is actually wearing down. Then, Deku smiles. He tells him that it's time. Then, he activates it. He activates his Juggernaut Shield, a special ability of his quirk besides his strength and speed and durability amp that gives him a mystical force field. Though he's never shown anyone this power before, he thinks of it as his ultimate move. In fact, he was trying to use it on the Sludge villain before when I tried to attack him, but he didn't really need it. Then, Mirio's shocked, as his punch and permeation can't go through it. He tries to do it again. He tries to permeate into the shield. It doesn't work. There's some sort of electrical, smaller than atom energy field. This mystical field actually pushes Mirio back. Mirio realizes what he has to do. He can only evade. He waits until the shield runs out. Deku, running at him at full speed, begins barreling down like a football player. He dives towards Mirio. Mirio can't permeate out of the way, and the shield force field in front of Deku actually hits him before he can think of doing it. Mirio falls backwards and then gets up. He says that it's time. He cracks his neck and says, "Alright, let's get serious." He then uses all of his power and starts using his ultimate move, the Phantom Punch thing. I'll put it on screen. I don't remember the name right now, but yes. He then begins attacking Deku and actually getting some hits in. Deku is wearing down at this point, and All Might's impressed at his durability and stamina. Then, he actually gets it. He activates One For All in his right foot, and then swings it, and it goes blitzing. The air actually creates an air shockwave from his foot that blasts off right as Mirio permeates through it, and slices the garbage pile he made the previous day in half as it falls down into itself. Then, All Might says that's enough for today and tells him to stop. He tells him that they'll train like this every day until each of them become much stronger. They agree. 10 months later, Deku has been training with Mirio as well as some other people, like the other big three who've come to inspect what Mirio's been doing during the past 10 months after schools and stuff. Then Deku walks up to his UA entrance exam. He was thinking about how he's going to do it when suddenly he realized this. There's a written exam. Deku's eyes drop as he realizes, oh my god, I didn't study for the written exam. He doesn't know if he's actually smart enough to get in on brains alone. On brains. But he knows if he can get number 1 in the physical exam, then he'll definitely get in. So he tries his best, and let's be frank, he gets like a 65 on his normal UA exam, which is like a lot less than his original. He felt not confident about it at all, and definitely feels like he failed. Then he begins his physical exam. Bakugo actually runs into him and sees him sitting in the hallway. He has to take up 2 seats because he's so big. Uraraka didn't even approach Deku because of how big and scary looking he was. Deku didn't fall over either though, since he was just not thinking about it. He wasn't nervous about anything, he knew that he'd get in. Then, Bakugo looks at him and says, you know you're gonna get in, Deku. It doesn't matter, but just you wait. Once I get into the best class heroes course, and I start training, I'm gonna get so strong I'll break through your stupid shield durability and strength. I don't give a crap. Then, Deku immediately says, then I'll just have to get even stronger. They walk their separate ways, and Deku walks into his exam. He sees Ida there. Ida begins to approach him, but then decides not to. He walks backwards, thinking that that's probably not a good idea. Immediately, the test starts. Deku activates One For All Food Cowling. He activates it along with his quirk, and Blitz crashes through the crowd of people. He gets through them and then realizes that he left some people on the ground and runs back and helps them up. He then rushes forward and blitzes past Ida, completely smashing a robot. At this point, All Might's instructing him that he should use no more than 15% of One For All in his entire body. See, during the 10 months, All Might figured out that Deku was having problems with controlling it because his body was strong enough to contain all of One For All in one part of his body. However, he wasn't getting a boost, and it took much longer to adjust the power into all of his limbs. So, they took a trip to Gran Torino during that 10-month period, and Gran Torino tried to fight with this big brute and figured out what was going on. Then, that's where Deku figured out that the fish in the microwave, and he used that instead of his waterfall, to the point where he now has a decent control of full cowling. Deku comes blitzing through the crowds of robots, smashing, bits of robot flying everywhere as a blur of red, as he's wearing a red tracksuit, blitzes through the city. He completely destroys about 50 1-point monsters, 10 2-point monsters, and 6 3-point monsters. He's doing extremely well, and all the people watching the exam are impressed. The teachers, including Aizawa, are watching this kid as he's blitzing through. Some of them are asking if they're sure this is a student, and he's going so fast that some of the students actually haven't seen a villain yet, like a villain robot. Then they activate it just as he walks onto the street. He hears a girl screaming. He sees a girl with brown hair under some rubble when a giant robot that makes even him look small comes climbing out of the ground. He immediately knows what he has to do. He activates One For All and says, sorry All Might, but I need to do this. He then turns One For All up to 50%, almost triple of what he'd been using at that point. He then jumps. A wave of air just shoots behind him, shattering all the windows that was in the buildings behind him. He moves forward at such speeds that the robot, he actually slams into the robot before he can get a hold of himself. He then cocks his right fist back, and then with all of his might, he screams, Juggernaut Blaster! He blasts with his mystical force field combined with One For All, just in his fist in front of him, and the entire robot gets completely destroyed. A hole of air just gets pushed. It doesn't just dent the robot, it goes directly through it. The robot falls backwards and is immediately destroyed. Everyone in the office is amazed at this kid's power, and how he just took out perhaps like a 200-tall robot, and his speed is incredible. Deku then begins to fall to the ground. He realizes he might fall, but he thinks he'll be okay, when suddenly he gets slapped in the face, and then he begins to float. Uraraka didn't expect him to be so heavy, and immediately drops him and starts vomiting. Then, Deku thanks her and says thanks for helping, and that she hopes that she's alright. He then walks away and gets home, preparing for the answers to his exam. If you guys like this and want to see a part 3 of what if Deku had Juggernaut's powers, then make sure to hit the like button. We hit 50 likes on like my last Alchemist video, which was really cool. If we could hit 50 likes on this video, that would be amazing. and definitely a part 3 will be coming out this weekend if that happens. The next video that'll be coming out tonight or tomorrow will be What If Minato Survived Part 2. So look forward to that, and yeah, see you guys. Bye.
It's black and white.